What if you could take that risk, make that change, reach that goal, live your best life? Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast, where we get together with amazing experts and everyday people who share challenges, encourage healing, and explore the possibilities that life has to offer. I'm your host, Gary Scott, and I'm excited that you're along for the ride. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast. And my great guest today is Byron Athene. Hello, Byron. How are you?
Hi, I'm Diamond, thanks. How are you?
I am sensational. I am sensational. I've been looking forward to this. Read through your bio, gone down different rabbit holes on you, and I like you already. So don't disappoint. No, I'm kidding.
No pressure or nothing.
No
Oh, I got
pressure at all. No pressure at all. Well, first, I'm just going to read. First of all, I love your bio because it's
Thank
short,
you.
sweet, and to the point. So I'm going to read your
Thanks.
bio real quick. So, everybody, today we get to have a chat with Byron Athene. Byron is a philosopher, a qualified counseling psychotherapist, certified mindset coach, certified NLP coach practitioner, clinical supervisor, trainer, and hypnotherapist. And I already feel kind of hypnotized by him a little bit. I already feel like I'm in under his power right now. So, Byron, again, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This. I already had a sense that this was going to be a wonderful opportunity, and yes, so far so
Yeah.
good. So far.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be fun. So, of course, like I mentioned, I am obligated, contractually obligated by myself to ask, because of the What If You Could podcast, I always ask my guests, hey, Byron, have you ever had a what if you could moment or what if you could thought, or is there ever a what if you could that you had one day you'd love to share with the gang before we get started?
It's weird you asked that because yes, I have. I've had several. What if I could? The one I'm going to focus on today is what if I could become a motivational speaker with an audience of I don't know, thousands, millions even. And even if I had just one chance, one show, one opportunity to just get a message across.
That's awesome. So we're on a live podcast. It's right in the middle of COVID. No one could do anything, so they're locked down. And
Very-
I
I,
own
I
the
remember.
entire world networks. And so I said, Byron, I own every TV and computer in the world, and I want you to be my guest while everyone's locked down. No one could go anywhere. And I want you to share your message. What do you think that message would be? Now, you've got 7 billion people, and I've
Ooh,
got translators,
wow, yeah.
I've got what do you think? So you're standing there going, "Oh man, he didn't even tell me he was going to do this."
I was like, well, what do you mean live? Oh my God.
So what do you think that message would be? I mean, when you're looking back on wanting to do that, what do you think you wanted to share? Because you already have so many credentials. God, there's
Yeah.
27 certifications of all the great stuff you've done. So with all that, what do you think you'd want to share?
Okay, well, the message I would share, honestly, is the reason why I got into counseling in the first place. Because oh God, how long has it been now? In 1992, 93, around then, I stumbled upon a life-changing psychological stroke philosophical idea that I think a lot of people would, and a lot of people have benefited from. I've definitely benefited from it. So that's the message I would share.
So what's that message? What's the
What's that message?
psychological message?
Okay, so I think I think I
Because now you've
think
got the whole world now eating out of the palm of your hands
and
now.
so I'm going to keep the whole world in suspense for just a little bit longer. No, no, my
Do we
message.
have to wait for the book and the movie, or
I'm actually writing a book that will feature this main message that I'm about to
Oh, I
hopefully
love it. You know, if you haven't
hopefully
noticed, I
share.
love books. So I can't wait. So I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to ruin the suspense. I don't want to ask the title of the book. I don't want to know anything about the book until it comes out. Then you come back on the show, and then we'll
Oh,
talk about the
sweet.
book
Yeah. Oh God, definitely. Yeah. Thanks.
after I read
Thanks
it.
in
So
advance. Thanks
so
in
then
advance.
let me
Okay.
ask you about some of the stuff that I can ask you without breaking any confidentiality laws.
Sure. Yeah.
So we're a philosopher, a counseling psychotherapist, a certified mindset coach,
Yeah.
certified NLP coach practitioner, clinical supervisor, trainer, and hypnotherapist.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff.
And
So
that's
you
old.
you
That's old.
you probably have a pretty good idea of how the mind works and kind of how our crazy brain up here works. Was
I
that
do.
your
I
idea
do.
to get into all that, or what made you chase all these things?
Yeah, well, I stumbled into it by discovering that life-changing idea that I'm hopefully about to start talking about. Because I wasn't into philosophy and psychology before I found this. I didn't even know what those subjects were. I mean, I must have been around 21, 22. I was the average 21, 22-year-old kid, like listening to music, doing whatever. Um, but then I found this idea and I was like, oh my God, can this be true? And I thought, no, surely this can't be true. So I tried to disprove it. I wasn't able to. And I thought about becoming a therapist way back then, but I've got a speech impediment. I've got a stutter. And so I thought, well, I'd feel a bit kind of, I'd feel almost like it was a double standard that I haven't been able to resolve my stutter, yet here I am trying to help people resolve their issues. So I thought, well, I'm not gonna be a therapist. And so I kind of hid within mundane office jobs, kind of just trying to sort of like stay low key in the background, whatever. But then I in unintentionally developed a growth mindset. I realized that I had a general growth mindset, but a fixed mindset on a couple of areas, particularly my career and my speech. So I thought, well, what career do I really want? I didn't really want to be an admin person. That's just what I thought would be kind of easiest almost. It doesn't take that much kind of communication and stuff. Um, so then I thought, okay, my my aspiration to become a counselor can be realized, and my speech impediment, that obstacle that I've been fighting my whole life, probably isn't the massive obstacle I believed it to be. Because it's not even that bad. It's not bad. I tell people, and they're confused. They're like, "Oh, I didn't realize you had a stutter." Well, yeah, I do. It's not. It's quite mild in some ways. It's not like the typical k k k k k k type stutter. It's more of a, sometimes I have difficulty starting to say what I want to say. So I might say to you, can we do that? And so I find that almost it confuses people because I start to talk, nothing comes out, and I can see in their eyes, they're thinking, oh, what's going on? So I found myself just not even talking. So that's how my stutter affected me because yeah, I think it did pretty much change my personality. I found myself trying to just hide it, and the best way to hide it was to just not talk at all, pretty much. But I realized that it's not the big deal. It's not the obstacle that I thought it was.
No,
So
no, and the challenge is, I think so many people listen to talk, they don't
mm,
listen to listen. So what they're doing is
that's true.
they don't care what
That's
you're
true.
saying, they're
That's,
preparing what they're going to say
that's
next.
true.
So if you take an extra moment to get something out, they're just antsy to say what they're going to say. It doesn't even matter what you were going to say. They just want to say their thought, right?
That's true.
So, but people who are actually engaged in listening don't even care because they're letting you say what you have to because that's
Yeah.
what we're supposed to be doing to communicate.
Yeah.
And I get it too because I had some cancer, some throat surgery, and I
Okay.
have this really bad lisp that I never had until they cut my tongue and did all this stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
conscientious of my lisp, and people go,
Mm,
"I don't hear a lisp," but to me, I know it's there. I hear it, So
sure.
to us, we kind of hear it, but you said
Yeah.
something that I just kind of I kind of want to go down the rabbit hole with you on a little bit. Is
Sure.
the saying that you said is, "Can this be true?"
Yes. Yeah.
Love that thought. I mean, love that
Can this
thought
be
because I'm
true?
the king of going down rabbit holes. So, what was it that you were like, can this be true? What was that comment about? Aliens,
Oh,
alligator
no,
people living
no,
in the
no.
center of the planet. What was what
Okay.
was that?
I think I have found the true or more sensible reason behind why we experience negative emotions. And when I say can it be true, because well, let me give you a bit of background before. So I
Okay.
went through a, I went through a fairly negative event. I felt really bad, but I thought, well, that's just what we do. We go through bad events, we feel negative emotions. We just have to make do as best we can or make the most as best we can. But then I read a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. So that that book changed my life. It's all about positive thinking, the power of the mind, positive or uh, mental rehearsal, visualization and stuff. And I was hoping it helped with my stutter. It didn't help with my stutter, but it did introduce the idea to me that happiness comes from within. And that was a groundbreaking idea to me. I thought happiness was a thing you had to kind of encounter almost in an experience that you liked. I thought it was definitely externally triggered. So I thought, hold on, if happiness comes from within, why am I making myself unhappy because of that recent bad event? So I was able to manage my emotions better. I was able to reframe any bad event so I can feel good straight after. That led to the question, if I can feel good right after feeling bad, what's the point of feeling bad in the first place? So then I asked, I asked people, I'm like, what's the point of bad emotions? And I heard the same, I heard the same theories again and again. We need bad to know good. Our bad emotions are useful. They're just inevitable. And at that stage, I knew that wasn't true. I knew I didn't need bad to know good. I knew my bad emotions weren't useful. I didn't need guilt to do the better thing. I can just do the better thing. I didn't think bad emotions were unavoidable because, yeah, I just experienced life where my bad emotions were significantly reduced. So after speaking to lots of people, hearing the same answer, I thought, well, maybe I'm never going to find out the true answer. Maybe this is going to be one of the many mysteries of life. But then I, about a year and a half after that, I met someone. We became friends. I told her about my, I guess, ability to control my emotions. And by the way, when I control my emotions, when I reduced my bad emotions, it seems as if my good emotions like mushrooms, almost like the bad ones were just holding them back, kind of thing. So I shared that with her. So she asked me if I could help her bad emotions. I said, well, you could do what I did, but it's taken me about a year and a half to get to my stage. It might take you a year and a half as well. She said, well, she wasn't doing anything else, so why not? So I started to help her with her emotions, and it was taking too long. It was taking too long. So I thought, well, let me start looking for the truth again. I thought, okay, well, let me start asking people again, why do we feel bad? Again, I heard the same 10 reasons that I knew weren't true. Again, again, I again I heard um well, again, I thought maybe this is just one of life mysteries that I'm never gonna find out. But then I but then I saw the truth. Something happened and I saw the truth and I thought, no way can this be true. No, God, no way, no way. So I tried to prove it wrong. I wasn't able to. And so I've just, yeah, changed myself, changed quite a few people, sharing the truth. And if you're up for it, I'll happily share the truth with you.
Dude, you're killing me. Of course I am. I either have, can this be true? Byron's answer to our emotional feelings, or where did we come from and who actually is the biggest creator in the universe, right? So I don't know. I'm going with you on this one. I mean, I think
Fair enough. Fair
there's
enough.
only
Well,
two unknown things in the entire universe, and those are the two,
yeah.
and you've got one. So yeah,
Okay, I was gonna say, at least
I
you're
want to
gonna
know.
get the answer to one of them today.
Okay. I'll figure out the other one on my own, but this one you're gonna have to help me out, man.
Okay, right. So the way I usually do it with my clients, I disprove. the prevailing theories first. Because when I first discovered this, I used to just blurt it out, and people didn't accept it. So I thought, well, hold on, why are they not accepting this? Then I realized that um, their existing truth was getting in the way. So I thought, okay, so to help prepare people for this, I have to disprove the current theories, which will leave like a void of truth. And my theory neatly fills that void, I think, because it's not been disproved, whereas the other theories can be easily disproved by like a teenager if they think about it. So, all right, so the three main theories. I'll quickly go through the three main theories and I'll quickly show you how they can be disproved. So, all right, so the first theory is called the contrast theory. So the contrast theory is this. Lots of people believe that bad emotions exist only because if they didn't, the good emotions wouldn't feel as good. So it's the contrast between the good and the bad that make the good feel better. And that might make sense to some people for some emotions, but that implies that our negative emotions and good emotions are connected to one another, and they're not. They are independent. You don't need to have experienced being homeless to experience the euphoria of a child being born. It's like they are two independent things. But maybe if you wanted to compare the two feelings, you might find that you're feeling a bit better in comparison. So, and a few people have pointed out that even if it was true that the contrast is there and it's experienced and it's definitely real, that's probably not the reason why the bad emotion is there. That's just what we've done to it or done with it. So, okay, so the second theory is the function theory. The function theory is lots of people believe that bad emotions exist because in certain situations they serve us better than our good emotions. So our bad emotions in some scenarios are helpful or useful. So, and people often cite anger as being useful sometimes. Sometimes you need to feel angry because if you're angry, someone's doing something you don't like. If you're angry, they could stop, which is true sometimes, but other times someone's doing something you don't like, you respond with anger, they could respond with more angry or with more anger. So you haven't just resolved a situation, you've made a situation worse.
Can I ask you on elaborate on so my thought on that is,
Yeah,
and this is your theory, so I'm just what hit me is so like when something bad happens to us,
yeah,
um, we've all had bad stuff happen to us where we go, why me? Why did this
yeah,
happen to
yeah,
me?
yeah, it
So
does. Yeah, natural.
so
Yeah,
when bad things happen, right, we
yeah,
ask something like that, and it makes us maybe start looking at our life and why things happen and maybe help us shift to something positive when good stuff is always happening. We don't
yeah,
give a shit. We just keep enjoying the good stuff, right?
yeah.
So maybe the bad things happen because that does make us stop and think that maybe we're on the wrong path and we need to reevaluate what we're doing. Is that kind of where you're going with that, or?
Yes, yeah, and that is what some people think. Like that's why some people subscribe to the function theory. They think, well, that bad emotion has a function for alerting us and then helping us make changes. But you don't need that signal. I don't need to seek improvements because I'm feeling bad about something. I could just want something to be better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we don't need to wait until a heart attack or cancer or something that really bad happens just to go, oh shit, we should stop eating too much and drinking and
Exactly.
smoking and
Exactly.
chasing wild women and stuff like that. We should already be thinking about how can we make our life better and move more
Precisely.
towards our spirituality, who we are at our soul, and what we really
Precisely.
want
Yeah.
without having to have a car accident.
Precisely.
So that's
Precisely.
the
Yeah.
function part of it.
Yeah. 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 So
Love it. All
and
right.
yeah,
Cool.
and I think this theory can be generally disproved considering the idea that all of our negative emotions disrupt our ability to think clearly. And surely thinking clearly is going to be more beneficial than not thinking clearly in any situation.
Yeah.
Surely, yeah. So I used to think this theory was true only for one emotion in one specific circumstance. I thought it was true for fear in the circumstance of your life being in danger. Because if your life's in danger, the fight, flight, and freeze response or the survival mode will kick in and you will run faster or fight harder. But I've researched this and I've since learnt that the the fight, flight, and freeze response precedes the emotional response, which means it's activated before you have a chance to emotionally
Mm.
respond to what's going on.
One is instinct and one is thought.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that theory can be quite easily disproved, even though I think it's marginally more sensible than the first theory. So the final theory I focus on is the inevitability theory, as in bad emotions are just inevitable. They're an unavoidable, inescapable part of life. And again, I guess this sounds true. This sounds plausible, but this theory can be generally disproved, considering that we can reframe events. And once we reframe something, we look at it in a different way, we're going to feel differently. So we can preemptively reframe an event. So rather than waiting something bad to happen, we can say, oh, if that bad thing happened, I'm going to look at it in this way. And then we'll feel differently. So I think it's more true to say that bad events are inevitable or maybe inevitable. I don't think it's as true to say that we are bound to feel bad because of those bad events.
Hmm. Hmm. You said something about reframing things, but
Yeah.
before that, a ways back, you said we don't need guilt.
No. Oh God, no.
We don't
Definitely,
need guilt. But
definitely not.
why is why is so many things founded in guilt? There's so many
Right.
religions that are founded in guilt. Relationship issues are founded in guilt.
Mm.
A lot of therapists use guilt. Parents use guilt on children
Yeah.
to make them do something. So we don't need guilt, but yet guilt is everywhere.
It is. It's true. It's a very powerful. It's a very motivational emotion. It's why it's as widely used because we don't know better. If we knew better, we would have a better, more effective form of motivation. We wouldn't need guilt to motivate someone to do something. We wouldn't. It would be that's like using a stick to like start a car or something. It might work for some people if they're skilled enough, but it's not that's not the best thing. It's
So we place guilt on ourselves and we place guilt on other people's
yeah,
so frequently, and guilt really is not a great motivator. I mean, in
no,
essence, it's used as a motivating tool, but really guilt stops you from really
oh,
moving forward and achieving anything
definitely.
because it makes you feel bad about yourself, which is the
Yeah,
exact
definitely.
opposite of how you would
Definitely.
move forward, right?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Which is again, that's a very good argument against the function theory because guilt and anger, I think, are the two main emotions people try to kind of use the function theory as a vehicle for.
Yeah. So then how, with all that being said now, because I'm an emotional guy and my emotions get all over the place. How do we then control our emotions, sir?
Uh, Okay, so one way to control our emotions is to better understand the real reason for why that emotion is there. And that's the thing that I discovered. And that's the thing I thought, no, that can't be true. Can it? Really? Surely? So, okay. So, right. So I used to just blurt it out all gleeful and stuff, but I found a more fun way to share. I found a more fun way to share. So rather than
It's a lot more enjoyable this way because the
oh,
pain is
good, good.
excruciating.
Good. So rather than me tell you, Gary, what the answer is, I'm going to ask you two questions.
Two
And
questions. Okay.
in answering those two questions, you are going to be unknowingly telling me what the theory is. All I'm going to do is just give you more information afterwards to round it out. Okay, right.
Okay,
Ready?
good luck. I'm not a real
Right.
bright guy, so let's give
Oh
it a
God,
shot.
no. This is really simple, really easy to answer questions. Say the first
A
question to mind.
child could answer these
You
questions.
know, seriously, yeah. To say the first thing that comes to mind, you'll be on the right track. I'm sure. I'm sure.
Okay.
Here
So
we
what's the
go.
first question?
The first question is, why do babies cry usually, generally?
Uh, I think babies cry because they're scared. Um, and they're frustrated. I think babies cry when they're scared and they're frustrated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, those are two reasons why a baby might cry. But I'll expand that answer just a little tiny bit,
Okay.
if you allow. Okay, so a
Yeah.
baby cries usually generally because there's something they need or want, and they don't have any other form of communication. So that
Exactly.
might
Yes, that's a
that might be
better
because there's
answer.
yeah, yeah, okay. So yeah, so it's okay. So that's
I have
question
a
one.
grandbaby who cries a lot because he can't he can't verbalize what he wants. He's
Precisely.
trying to, and he
Precisely.
gets frustrated, and
Precisely.
so he cries.
Precisely. Precisely. Yeah. Right now, I'm guessing at the age range, crying is the best form of communication that he has.
Hmm.
Okay, so question two. What is a typical response to the baby crying from the caregiver or someone close to them?
I leave his ass in the crib and say, "Look, dude, until you learn to communicate, I'm not coming. I'm sick of your shit. I can't take this crying anymore. Grow up. Life is hard. All right."
Get used to it.
Get used to it. You can cry your ass off until you fall asleep. I'm your grandpa, all right? I'm not your mom and dad. You can't pull this on me. That's what my response. Now, his mom's response is to immediately run to the baby, pick him up, and do boo 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 do do
Yeah,
boo,
yeah,
mama moo moo. And I'm like, you're conditioning him to just cry anytime he wants instead of working it through.
yeah, yeah. Pretty much,
So
pretty
I'm a
much. Yeah.
bad grandpa. I'm sorry. I can't believe I said that on. I'll have to edit that out.
No, a typical response is that a caregiver or someone close to them tends to the baby, tries to work out what they're trying to communicate so that they can give it to them if they can or if it's practical to do so. So here we go. The theory is this. Theory is this. I call it the baby theory. And I think the
It's the
the
baby theory.
the baby theory, yeah, that's what I've
Love
named
it.
it. That's what I
Okay.
named it. So okay, so the baby theory is this. The only reason why adults still experience negative emotions is that we needed to feel negative emotions or bad feelings when we were babies so that we could prompt someone to meet our needs. We then change the process slightly to get our desires met. And this is a process that has continued to run into adulthood because we haven't been told about it, so we haven't been told to stop. So right now we're feeling bad about adult things, but it's still the same baby process.
All day long. I mean, you watch a 60-year-old woman who is in a bad relationship with a narcissist, and that narcissist wants some sort of reaction out of her, some sort of emotion out of her, and she's just so beat up and exhausted from this
Mm,
stupid relationship that he will force her into where she just breaks down and cries. And because of her frustration, and she can't communicate with this idiot anymore. And then
mm,
he is satisfied also because now he got the reaction that he wanted out of her.
mm,
And her only response was to cry.
mm.
Um, but you see it not just in crying, right? I mean, you see people do this to get the responses that they want or to get the reaction that they want because they are so emotionally void as humans
Yeah, yeah. Well,
that they don't have other ways to communicate.
okay, well, it's yeah, it's definitely not just in crying in adults, but I guess I'm talking about the actual feeling that's there. So whatever
Mhm.
negative emotion you want, the anger, guilt,
Yep.
even, it's there because there's something happening that you don't like, and you're just through conditioning still running that problem solving mechanic that you needed as a baby. You're still running it. It's a subconscious process. So when there's something that happens that you don't like, that means you just kind of revert to doing that. And being aware of that, rather than being aware that that's why we have negative emotions, ultimately, we've applied other reasons for the existence of bad emotions, like the theories that we went over, like the contrast theory, the function theory, or the inevitability theory. But this is the one that just makes, I think, more sense. And I've not been able to disprove it. No one's been able to disprove it yet.
So how do we catch ourselves as we're going into that response? How do we catch ourselves and stop ourselves from doing the baby theory response and doing a healthier response?
Yeah, yeah, that's an excellent question, and that's the trick. That's the trick. The first step is to be aware of it. The first step is to be aware that you are running an obsolete, archaic problem-solving mechanic. So it's understandable sometimes. It's understandable to feel angry or frustrated or sad, but what you're ultimately doing is trying to solve that problem in a way that's not going to work.
So, and you had said reframe.
Yeah.
But it's almost more like a rewiring, though, isn't it? More of a
Oh, definitely.
rewiring of our
Definitely.
how our how our historical response, how our I'm looking
Definitely.
for a different word than historical, our ancestral, whatever, the word I'm looking for is how
Innate. It's
our
innate. Instinctual. Instinctual. It's
yeah. So what is your then with your training and all this, how are you rewiring people, or is that the object is to help people rewire that so
yeah.
they're not having those emotions?
Yeah, yeah. So, well, the first step in rewiring is to first of all just be aware that that is actually what you're doing. Because if you think you're doing something else, you might continue doing that other thing. But if you acknowledge that this is what you're doing, you'll stop doing it if you have the choice. And if you kind of try to condition otherwise, you'll eventually stop doing it. But it's a tough thing because we've been doing this our whole lives. And so even if someone takes this theory on board completely, if they want to stop feeling bad, if they fully agree with it, they've still got decades of that conditioned response to compete against, and they're not going to win that fight. Their conditioned responses are going to win every single time. So the best thing to do is to be aware of the conditioned response so you can decondition it and recondition a healthier, more helpful response.
So how does this help us? How does this change our life? How does this make things better for us instead of just laying on the ground, getting in the fetal position and just crying, which I do on a regular basis? I mean, how does this help us move forward as a person, as a member of society?
It helps us in a few significant ways. The first way it helps us is bearing in mind I'm saying we feel negative emotions only because we encounter a problem. Well, first of all, do you think you encounter, sorry, do you solve problems easier when you're feeling positively, negatively, or neutral?
Well, for me personally, I feel I solve problems much better. I have
Yeah,
much better clarity
yeah,
when I'm in a good place
yeah, right.
and I feel better. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think for most people, um, if they're experiencing a problem, if they're feeling bad or feeling a negative emotion, they're not gonna resolve that problem as easily as if they were feeling neutral or feeling positively. So the first way this benefits us is bearing in mind it only happens when there's a problem. It means that we're going to be aware of it. We're not going to feel bad when we encounter a problem. That means we've just increased the chances of resolving that problem easier because we're not getting in our way. We're not making ourselves feel bad and draining our resources and using our energy in a futile way. We're going to be more resourceful, more problem solving.
Now, again, I just have to go back to all of your training, all
Yeah,
of your certification, all
yeah,
of the different modalities that you've trained yourself in. It looks like you
yeah.
just never stop learning, never stop chasing it. So, I mean, is there one that seems to help with your baby theory above and beyond something else? I mean, is it the neuro-linguistic programming? Is it the hypnotherapy? Is there one that helps you get through to people better than other techniques?
Well, maybe the counseling qualification does, because with my counseling, I can be more of an attentive listener. I can maybe try to mirror the person's language. So if I'm communicating to them, then chances are I'm going to be more in rapport, which means that they'll be more receptive. I'll be more receptive to them. And so this message will be more effectively conveyed, maybe. But
Because
the,
it is a process, right? I mean, you've got to take someone in order to reframe things, which I do think is both. Now that I think about it, I think you're right with the reframing because
yeah,
you have to help people picture it. You have to have people see it, right? So
yeah,
they can
yeah,
reframe what they're thought,
yeah,
so they can see it, what's happening.
yeah.
And then maybe the rewiring once they've acknowledged, oh crap, yeah, I see I do that, and
Mm,
how do I stop doing it?
yeah.
Right? So I would imagine there's a lot more steps to it than just the initial meeting someone and go, this is my theory,
Mm.
now stop doing it.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say stop doing it. I wouldn't say stop doing it because then if I were to say stop doing it, that might imply I'm in competition with it. And I'm not in competition with it.
Mm.
I'm helping people understand it. I'm not saying we should stop bad feelings or we should stop negative feelings. I'm saying if we had a better understanding of those negative feelings, we would be in the driver's seat more as opposed to allowing our subconscious to be in the driver's seat, because our subconscious is going to just keep on doing what it has been doing, which means it's going to keep on running that program. That means it's going to keep on making us feel bad when we think there's a problem. That means it's going to keep on. It's like negative feelings is almost like the ultimate expression of self-defeating behavior.
That is so true. I mean, that is so true. And so you're not making people feel bad for negative emotions. You're not saying stop having
No.
negative
Oh
emotions
God, no.
because they do
No.
serve a purpose. But what you're saying is be aware of how they're coming and how you're dealing with the negative emotions. So like you said, shit happens. I mean, life happens. Things are going to happen which are going to cause you to have emotions, good, bad, or indifferent, right?
Yep.
But being able to control them a little bit, take that drunk monkey in your head and maybe just be able to control it and focus it a little better, maybe. Is that kind of where you're going with it?
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. If we have a better understanding, that means we're gonna marshal our resources in a more effective way. We're probably going to see less problems because I think we tend to see more problems when we're feeling bad anyway. So we're going to see less problems. The problems that we do encounter, we're going to resolve easier because we're going to be feeling more resourceful. So less problems, easier result.
Well, I'd imagine that frees up not only a lot of energy, because we waste so much energy beating ourselves up over negative
Yep.
shit, right?
Yep.
But
Definitely.
also,
Yep.
I would imagine with the energy, you would be focused. You would feel a lot less brain fog. You would have a lot more focus because now you're
Yep.
not wasting energy on negative crap that doesn't matter. And you're
Yep.
not focusing on the negative, like just constantly focusing on it. And so that frees you to have more energy to then focus on positive, direction for your life, goals, what
Yep.
you want to do. And
Yep.
so I would imagine just that alone would make significant changes to people's lives.
Definitely, definitely. And add on top of that the fact that we're going to be feeling better anyway, then
Yeah.
that makes another significant difference to our lives. We'll just be happier more of the time. Anyway,
Well, because like you said, I mean, when do you make better decisions? When you're happy or when you're bad, or when you're happy and when you're sad, or whatever than that. So basically, just
yeah,
every level of that is better when you can control those emotions, control that drunk monkey, and from creating all the havoc in your mind. So,
yeah,
how do you? So I know you're putting together the book, so I'll have to get the book to find out all the answers. But
right.
so how do you work with someone? I mean, because we don't really come clean with anybody, let alone ourselves, right? So I mean, it's hard. How do you get someone to start acknowledging that, hey, you've this is where this has gotten you, and it's you know, imagine where you could be if you were able to free up some energy, some focus, and you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? How do you take people and move them?
It depends on the person. Like everyone, every client is different. Every person I speak to is different. So one person might be completely receptive to me being like a sledgehammer, just giving them the theory in a blunt way. Other people, I have to be really sensitive, really kind of almost like drip feed them bits of information. Because if I say one thing wrong, they just shut down and that's it. It's like case closed kind of thing. So it depends. It depends on the person.
I guess that's 100% true with any type of work that you're doing with people. I'm a real estate broker by trade. I just do this because I'm fascinated by people like you. But yeah, I mean, even when it comes to buying or selling a home, everyone's different. You have to tune into their emotions and their thought processes based on them. You can't
Yeah.
cookie cutter stuff like this.
Yeah.
But
Definitely not.
especially people's
Definitely not.
emotions like this. So when you've discovered this and when you bring this to people, what do they think of this philosophy?
Oh God, again, people are different. The amount of if I was able to record my sessions, the priceless reactions I've got sometimes, like I've blown people's minds. This session is definitely one of the favorite parts of my job. Just the the reactions I get. Some people instantly kind of are attuned to it. Others are like, well, I don't think that's true. So it's like so there's like the full gamut, I guess. Like it's
But I could imagine, people who are a little bit more tuned in and enlightened, and happier anyways would get it much more quickly than, negative Nancy who just wants to dwell in the shit anyways. You know what I mean? It's like there's an old, you ever heard of the guy, someone named Fat Albert? You ever heard of the comic
yeah,
Fat Albert?
yeah, yeah.
Well, there's a saying about Fat Albert when he's walking on the train tracks with his buddies, and they're like, "Fat Albert, we don't get it. You're big, fat. Not athletic. You can't even see how do you not fall off the train tracks when we're going walking down the train on the train tracks, and we're falling off, and we're that." And he says, "It's because I can't see my feet because I'm too fat." So I just look straight ahead at the upcoming train tracks and just stay focus on what's ahead. You guys spend all your time looking down at your feet. That's why you keep falling off. And I think about people like that. Some people are so negative. They're always staring down. They're always looking for problems.
Yeah,
And so
no,
they
yeah.
just, that's what they find. And so I'd imagine those people are a little harder to move the needle than someone who's kind of more open to that type of philosophy, I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think some people, because they've lived life has been the way it has been for however many years, they can't imagine it being this different. So they're like, nope, I'm rigidly gonna hold on to this, even though we've just disproved it. They're like, I don't care if you disproved it, I'm gonna hold on to it anyway. So, okay,
Yeah. I don't care if it's true or not. I'm just going to stay in where I am because I don't care. Then why did you come see me? Just go see somebody else who will spend 10 years trying to fix you. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get work this thing out. So is that just made me think of something. So when you're working with people, is it like a therapy kind of consultation setup where you're working with people and it could go on a little bit longer based on them? Is that kind of how this works? Is it a coaching
well,
sort of thing?
sometimes, I mean, because I'm in private practice, so if a client works with me privately, then it can be ongoing. But I also belong to an EAP. I'm not sure if you have EAPs out there, like employee assistance programs. That's where employers hire a company with therapists and they pay for therapy for their employees. So I also work for an EAP as well. So that work is quite short term, like 6 sessions, six to 12 sessions usually.
Mhm.
Mainly six, but
Where are
so
you
that's short
where
term.
are you physically located?
I'm in London, UK.
Oh, wow. Well, I picked up the accent, but I thought, God, it's got to be what, 10:30, almost 11 o'clock at night there?
It's 10 to 10.
Yeah. Wow.
10 to
Okay.
10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
I
That's
thought,
not too
okay.
bad.
So, well, thank you for joining me so late.
No worries.
It
No
was funny.
worries.
My earlier guest was in Australia.
Okay. Which
So,
is ahead, isn't it? That's like yeah.
yeah, it was like, yeah, it was 10 o'clock in the morning, our time was like 5 o'clock in the morning, her time, or something
Okay.
like that. But
Okay.
like the day before or something, or the day after or something like that. But
The day after, I think.
but
It's probably the
so
day after.
so Byron, you've got a book in progress, which is
Yes.
awesome,
Yes.
and you're actively working your practice.
Yeah.
So what's you and you've got like a plethora of things that you do. So what's next for you besides your book? I mean, what are you gonna do with this? Are you gonna be the not the next Tony Robbins because there's only one Tony Robbins and there's only one Byron Athene, but
Yeah.
what are you gonna do with this knowledge? How are you gonna bring this out?
It depends. I'll see how successful the book is. I guess I'll appear on podcasts. I'll see what happens. If any opportunities come up where I can speak about it or like debate this in a public forum, then I'll do that.
I know that like when people come up in America, we have the American Medical Association or something like that. Isn't it something like
Yeah.
that? AMA?
Yeah.
American Medical Association. Anyway, and when a doctor finds something like they do another a surgical technique or they come up with something, it gets AMA rated or something like that, right? Then it goes in the American Medical Journal book or something like that.
Yeah.
So is that, do they have that in Britain and the UK? Do they have someone that go, you know what, Byron's theory is amazing. We're going to start using that universally. Is that something that could come about?
There maybe it doesn't work in the same way because I don't think we have a AMA in the same way that has the same sort of outreach or kind of implications and stuff. But I'm also doing a research course which is going to help me scientifically prove this thing that I've known is true for like 32 years. So once I've done that, once I've done that, then I guess it will be more widely accepted as being true, and who knows. And I'm developing my own therapeutic approach as well.
Mhm.
And so if that's the case, I'll be able to maybe host my own kind of training programs or CPD continuing professional development courses where I'll be able to share these ideas and help people uh, expand their practices or expand their existing knowledge in helpful ways.
I love that. You would be able to coach other therapists in your theory, and then they would be taking your techniques and using that in their practice or start their own training process based on your. I mean, we've been teaching Freudian crap forever, right? So now we've got the Athenian. And who was the guy before Freud that everyone paid attention to? Who was that? Oh, it's
Is there
just
someone before Freud? I think before Freud it was just philosophers. I think
is
Freud was the
Freud the
first.
one where everything's like your mother sexually abused
Yes.
you, so you're screwed
Yes.
up? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Um,
Yeah.
so we're not going to use that theory, but yeah. I mean, literally, you can train other therapists to use your theory to help people because let's face it, my friend, we're all screwed up. There's 7 billion screwed up people laying around that need help, and I think we're in probably one of the most negative times in the history of the world. I mean, obviously
Potentially.
before social media and internet, they didn't have that 2000 years ago. There's probably some negativity, but now, I mean, this planet is just oozing with just negativity, don't you think?
Yeah, it's so much easier for negativity to spread nowadays because of X and Instagram and other social media outlets.
Yeah. So, I mean, having someone who come along and start healing some of us with our negative thoughts and our negative patterns, maybe that will start moving the needle a little bit and change us from all this madness we're in. It's just bizarre. But
Hopefully, hopefully.
yeah. So you've been fantastic, and I
Thank
appreciate
you.
this. I love everything. Like I said, I knew this hour was going to fly by, and it totally flew by.
Yeah.
Just you're sending me down a whole bunch of rabbit holes now. I've got 100 pages of notes, but I did lie. And as a professional, you would know that we all lie. So I did,
I
so I
do.
did lie.
Okay.
I said I just had one question, but I have two questions.
Okay.
So the first question is the what if you could question. I give you that
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
But the second question I ask is, um, before we to law, um, is there a thought or a message, or is there something that you'd like to leave everybody with? Something that really means something to Byron, or something that you discovered beside your theory, or something that you kind of wanted to share? Could be anything, could be a saying, just something you'd like to leave us with before we go.
Um, okay. Let's give this a go. All right. Anything?
Anything.
All right. Okay. So here we go. Maybe this won't appeal to people who are specifically religious, but all right. Okay. So let's imagine that we were dead for an infinite amount of time before we were born. So that we didn't exist for an infinite amount of time. Then we were born. We're we're alive for like a cosmic blink of the eye, a relatively short time. Then we're going to be dead again for an infinite amount of time. That surely means that life is really just a brief holiday from non-existence. I think if you see life in that way, you're probably just going to relax a bit more, surely. Not take things as seriously as you otherwise would if you think, oh no, it's serious for this reason and that reason.
Hold on a second. Okay, you're gonna you're gonna have to repeat that. So
Sure.
life is just a holiday
A very
from
brief.
I'm sorry, go ahead. So what was it
Yeah.
that you said?
Yeah, so yeah, like life is just bearing in mind we were dead for an infinite amount of time before you're born. We're born, we're alive for like a really, really short space of time. Then we're going to be dead again for an infinite amount of time. That means life is just a really, really brief holiday from non-existence.
That's awesome. I love that. And I know I was gonna try to let you go, but now I want to expand on that for a second, if that's okay. Because because that's awesome. So because is that would you say that is reincarnation?
No, I don't believe in reincarnation. I'm not saying that it's definitely false. No, of course not. I'm saying I don't have
We
any
shouldn't take shit so seriously because we're not here very long. We're dead more than we're alive.
exactly. Exactly. There we go. Yeah, yeah, you said it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure we were going down a whole nother Byron theory on life and death. I was gonna go, oh, I've got time. Wait a minute, this is gonna get good. Well, no, I believe that to be true, and I tell people that all the time. I said, dude, you're not getting out of here alive. No one ever has, and you're gonna be dead so much longer than you're alive. Fucking
Yep.
let it go. All right.
Yep.
Let
Yep.
it
Yep.
go. All right. Because I was talking to someone and they were talking about the 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 12 most impactful hours in the history of mankind. There's been how many millions or billions of hours of man's existence, right? A lot of
Quite a few.
hours.
Quite a few. Yeah.
And there was 12 hours where this gal thought that was the most 12 impactful hours of our existence. And that was the 12 hours, Jesus's last 12 hours. Now, I'm not religious, so I had no idea what Jesus's last 12 hours were like, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but apparently they were pretty heavy duty.
Mm.
And so, yeah, so I mean, you could take one person who's Jesus Christ, right? Was supposed to be a big dude, and say out of his entire life, 12 hours were the most impactful, right?
Yeah.
So in our lives, really, Byron, I mean, how much of our lives really are massively impactful that we should take so damn seriously?
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. I think if you take 5 minutes, you might as well take the whole thing. It's I think it's all as important as any other part, I think. Like life.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I love your theory. So you've been
Thank you.
amazing. I just,
Thank you.
everybody, so you have just had the pleasure of Byron Athene. Now, Byron, where can people find you? Where can they go and look you up and go deeper down this Byron rabbit hole here?
Okay, well, they can go to my website, which is www.byronathene.com. So just my name, BYRONATHENE.com. And
Okay.
that's my professional site. So they
Awesome.
can.
Are you on any other social media of any kind,
Well,
Facebook or
I
LinkedIn?
am, yeah, I am, but I'm not really that social media aware. I do have a LinkedIn account. I recently paid for someone to kind of pimp up my website so that they created lots of different social medias like Instagram, Pinterest, lots of things. But they're empty shells at the moment, and so I do intend to visit them and sort of fill them out. But at the moment, it's just like LinkedIn. That's the one that I'm more kind of active.
They might be an empty shell, my friend, but you are not an empty shell.
Thank you.
You are awesome. So, all right, everybody, we just saw experience of Byron Athene. Just absolutely wonderful. You're a brilliant dude. I love what
Thanks.
you're working on here. I love
Thank
your
you.
theory, and I believe it 1,000%. And now I'm going to take my mindset and I'm going to stop being that little crying bitch, and I am going to make some changes, all because you told me to.
Good. Good.
All right, my friend Byron, thank you so much.
Oh,
And
you're
listen,
welcome.
guys,
You're welcome.
look for Byron. Go look him up. He's a cool dude, and you're gonna like his stuff. So thank you, my friend. I appreciate you being on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Thanks again for joining us on another episode of What If You Could podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, and give us any feedback. We'd love to hear it. And remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. See you next time.